Okay, today's lecture is going to be on the three Republican presidents during the 1920s, and it's Harding, Coolidge, and Hoover. So we're going to learn a little bit about each of these three presidents. Now, at the beginning, you have laissez-faire policy, and remember, laissez-faire means hands off, where the government does not intervene. So the first thing we're going to do to go hand in hand with that isolationist feel is create high protective tariffs. So these are taxes towards other countries. And the Hawley-Smoot Tariff Act was created, and it raised taxes to the highest in U.S. history. We had lower taxes on the wealthy. Of course, Republican Party or Republican presidents are going to lower the taxes on the wealthy. Larger tax burdens shifted to the average American, so there it goes, to the middle class. And law enforcement of antitrust laws and regulations were created, or even, further enhanced. Now we're going to get into Harding administration, 1921 to 1923, and this is Warren G. Harding. And he had this policy of return to normalcy. It's after the war, and the United States is trying to adjust back to how it was before the war, hence return to normalcy. He refused to join the League of Nations, so he was one of those supporters of Henry Cabot Lodge, and to not join the League of Nations, he believed we should be isolationist. He enacted high tariffs. He lowered taxes, of course, on the rich. He restricted immigration, right, that nativist sentiment. He showed tolerance for other races. Resisted anti-Semitism, which we'll go over in class, and he pursued an arms reduction, right? The more weapons you have, the more tempted you are to use them against other countries. Now, with Warren G. Harding, there is a scandal, the Teapot Dome scandal. Now, Harding appointed his personal friends to his cabinet. So he appointed his friends to his cabinet, and they were known as the Ohio Gang. Now, the Secretary of Interior, one of his friends, leased oil-rich government lands at Teapot Dome, Wyoming, to two business friends in exchange for bribes. And we saw that bribes are going to be favors that you do for a politician, or that they will do for you in exchange for votes, or any other personal doings, right? So his friend, the one that he appointed, was leasing or lending out these government lands that had oil. It was discovered after Harding's death in 1923. Other scandals emerged and left him with a bad name. The building that we are in right now, or my class, that's the Harding building, and it was named after him. Okay, and that's the Ohio Gang. All of his cabinet. And remember, the cabinet is the president's advisors, so he surrounded himself with all his buddies. And then you have Coolidge, Calvin Coolidge, also known as Silent Cal. Right, so Calvin Coolidge administration from 1923 to 1929, and he was Harding's vice president. So when Harding passed away, here you have the vice president become president. He was honest and thrift, also known as Silent Cal, right? He was known for doing nothing, right? He just let it be. He takes the credit for business expansion, again having laissez-faire where the government does not intervene. The government isn't stopping you from expanding your business. He was a huge supporter of laissez-faire practices. And then you have Herbert Hoover from 1929 to 1933, right? Herbert Hoover. He was an engineer and self-made millionaire. He predicted the end of poverty if he were elected, and he believed in something known as rugged individualism. All right, so Herbert Hoover, because in the 1920s, I've told y'all before, it's such a good time in the United States that, everybody was making money. And it was because of a couple of things that were created during the 1920s that you were able to enjoy the good life, right? And Herbert Hoover believed in rugged individualism, a system of equal opportunities, a free education, and a will to succeed. So individualism, that's you by yourself, and rugged is like you're going to do whatever you have to do to get there, right? So equal opportunities, free education, and a will to succeed. So those are your three Republican presidents, and we're going to go ahead and continue going over some specifics within each of the presidencies.